you another class, but this one's a little bit different. So if you joined us last week, we had a really fun kind of snowball effect happen with our classes. So we started out last Monday with like a dollar shopping spectacular. I went on the Beadaholique website. We are closing, we're in the process of our closing sale, so everything is 40% off. So with that in mind, I picked out my favorite like 75 items that were $1 or less. And then that class became the following class, which was jewelry designs under $5. Like, what could you make that would cost less than $5? So that was what happened for the first two shows of last week. And you can always go back and watch those replays. So those are always archived and saved. And then as we were having fun with the $5 jewelry designs, we started to talk about making and selling handmade jewelry. And we went on some really fun topics, and it kept snowballing, and we were all excited. So we then said, well, we have to do a whole class dedicated to making and selling handmade jewelry. And I may first say hi to everybody because I'm seeing some comments pop up. Hello, Marie and Monique and Francie. Hello. So for anyone who joined us on those shows last week, you can kind of see how this started and how we arrived at today, which is going to be kind of like a community forum about making and selling handmade jewelry. And there's lots of different avenues, and there's lots of different things to consider. So there's everything from how do you price your handmade jewelry? How do you photograph it? Where do you sell it? Do you do it in person? Do you do it online? Shipping charges, all of that stuff. So I think this is going to be an open dialogue, and we're going to talk back and forth. Hello, Anne and Leah and Janet. Hello, and Ellen. And of course, I couldn't do a show without making something. So I am going to make a really quick earring. And the reason I wanted to make that was to show that when you are making and selling jewelry, you can have some pretty quick and easy items in your catalog too that take maybe under 5 minutes, under 10 minutes to make. So you don't have a lot of labor cost and are pretty inexpensive, but then that kind of helps to even out your more complicated items. So there's always going to be a balance, which is nice. So we are going to talk, we're going to figure things out, we're going to share ideas, and I absolutely encourage everybody, hello Teresa and Beverly and Gail and Giggles, all of you to please put in the comments your own ideas, your own tips, your own suggestions, because we are a great beading community here, and we are here to help each other. And I see Marie is here, and Tracy, hello. Oh, Tracy, driving and listening. Okay, I hope you have a good drive. K-How, hello, aloha. So yes, please put in the comments here. We are live on Beadaholique. This is a live show. It is 2:03 Pacific time here on October 6th in the afternoon. So it's a little after 5 on the East Coast. So please do feel free to put in the comments, not only your tips, not only your questions, if you have questions about making and selling jewelry, also links. This was fun. Last week we did this too. If you are making and selling jewelry, you have a website, you have an Instagram account, a Facebook page, or an Etsy store, put in the links of this live where we can find you, because this is part of it. This is helping to share where people can find you to buy your handmade jewelry. So feel free to put those in the comments right here. Hello guys, oh my gosh, I'm seeing comments go up really quick. Hello Doris and Maria, hello. So yes, so we're gonna have fun. We're just gonna talk and figure it out, but I also have some stuff to show you on my table and some different ideas as well. So little background on me, I have sold jewelry everywhere from online to flea markets, to Comic-Cons, to juried art fairs, to Christmas boutiques, everywhere in between. So I have gone to a lot of different venues. I think finding the venue that works for you is one of the most important aspects of selling jewelry. So some people are going to do great at a juried art fair. Other people are going to do really well online. And it's a matter of trying it out and thinking about what you make and where is it going to be really well received. So like if, let's say, I'll use myself as an example. I often do really elaborate beaded pieces. Like I'm going to show you right here. This is a piece in progress. So this is some bead embroidery. I've been working on this forever, but it's very time consuming. And so my prices tend to be a little bit higher if I'm doing pieces that take a lot of hours and hours and hours of work. So when I went to a flea market, and I'll just say, this is a Rose Bowl. I went to the Rose Bowl flea market because I'm here in Southern California. When I went to the flea market, people weren't in the mindset of buying a $100 piece of handmade jewelry. So I didn't do very well. It was not a good show for me because all my prices were too high and just people weren't in that mindset. They went to a flea market and they were looking for a bargain and they wanted $5, $10 jewelry. So if I had $5, $10 jewelry, which I could have done a little charm jewelry and things like that, I probably would have done a lot better. But I could take my exact same everything, my same booth, my same prices, my same pieces, and I go to a juried art fair where people are in the mindset of this is handcrafted, they value handcrafted, then I did much better. I had a great show. So it wasn't necessarily a comment on my work or even my prices being right or wrong. It was I was not in the right venue. I also find for me that I do much better in person. So I do much better at an in-person show versus online. Now I was talking with Deb Floros, another wonderful designer who you've seen here on Beadaholique, and she's the opposite. So she really does great online and she doesn't prefer the in-person. And so we were talking that she's gonna do a show here on October 28th and she's gonna really deep dive into online selling. And I can touch on it because I have done it. And I know that we can share here as well, different people's experiences, but she has done a lot of online selling and she's gonna really talk on that on October 28th. So mark your calendars for that one because that will be really good. It's just a different perspective and it's different balance. So I love in person. Couple things I like about it. Hello, Santa Barbara girl and Kat and Sherry, hello. Let me quickly back up for anyone who's just joining us who's wondering, why is Julie still talking? We are talking about making and selling handcrafted jewelry. We got going on this subject last week. We had so much fun with it and we realized we needed a whole class dedicated to it where we can share ideas, share tips. I'll share mine, but I want everyone to share in the comments as well. If you are here on Beadaholique watching this, when you comment, people can read your comments. I can read your comments, which is great. Now, if you are over on Facebook or YouTube right now, definitely feel free to comment. Just know no one is there to monitor them live. So I can't see them live and others can't see them live as well, but there's a link in your video. If you click on that, it'll pop you over to Beadaholique. And then when you, oh, great question, Ellen. When you pop on over to Beadaholique, when you comment, it will show, it will show up here and we can read it, which is great. Everything else still has the same format for the show. There's the little floating heart, the share icon. This will be saved and archived as soon as we say goodbye today. You can watch the replay if you want to remember something. And then there are items in the shopping bag too. I have some stuff I'm going to show you that I'm going to work with today. So that's in the shopping bag and some of my favorite findings from making and selling jewelry. Oh, hello in sunny Seattle. Nice, it's sunny, great. My father-in-law is visiting from Seattle and he's like, we've had a beautiful summer. And I know Seattle is gorgeous in the summers. All right, guys, so keep sharing your links. If you want, that's part of it because marketing and branding yourself is also part of selling jewelry. So this is one way of doing it. Coming on to these live forums, sharing a link to what you do, sharing your site, letting people, be able to find you is super important. All right, so as I was saying, I prefer in-person shows. I like it that I set up, I talk to people, I sell it right there. I don't have to take photography. I don't have to do listings, which are time consuming. I don't have to package it up and ship it out. So to me, doing in-person shows takes a lot of the work away. So although it takes an afternoon or a weekend, it's kind of like I don't have all that preliminary. So for me and my lifestyle, that works really well. And oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, I'm trying to read the comments so I don't miss anything. I find the magnetic clasps do work really well. I put a couple in the shopping bag and I'm gonna flip my camera down here in just a minute So here we've got this little magnetic clasp. This is one of my absolute favorite ones because right now it's under $1 with the 40% off. It's under $1, so it's a really great price for a finding, and I find they hold great. But that is a great question too. Like, do the magnetic clasps hold? Also, magnetic clasps are a little bit more universally appealing because they're easy. If someone has difficulty getting a clasp on and off, a magnetic clasp is a little bit easier. So it might be a little bit more appealing. Oh, good. Okay. I love it. So Joanna is saying she loves the magnetic clasps too. Yeah, that's my go-to. My go-to is just going to be that simple little magnetic clasp that's under $1. And that helps to keep my costs down. All right, guys, so I figured we have pricing to talk about. We have shipping, we have shows, we have branding, photographing. Where would you guys like to start? So if anyone has an idea of where they want to begin this conversation, and it's going to wind, it's going to overlap and meander, but we can go ahead and start if anyone has a question they've been curious about one of those topics. We also have a series of blog posts that I did a couple years ago with videos. There's 8 recorded videos, so that would be something to check out as well. Oh, pricing. Okay, great. So I am going to flip my camera down because I have some examples here. Okay. Let me flip my camera. And photographing. Okay. And shipping. Okay, great, guys. Okay, so let's talk about pricing first, and then we're going to go on to photography. Okay, so like I said, I do have some stuff here to show because I wanted to show examples. Okay, I'm going to revisit these guys because what I did is we made these last Thursday. We made these bracelets last Thursday, and I had put them as an under $5 project, which they are, but I was counting the full bead strands, and so I had a lot of leftover beads. So I actually went through and I counted each bead. So when you're trying to think about pricing, you want to know what you have in it invested already in terms of your cost of supplies. That's kind of your starting point. So I broke these completely down. And so this bracelet cost me, including the findings, all the beads, the charm, the jump ring, this bracelet here cost me $3.13. So that gives me a really good, how to determine a good pop-up versus a not so good one. That's a great question. How does properly set up the bead room's workspace? Oh my gosh, I love your questions, guys. Okay, I'm going to try to get to all of them. And if I miss any of them, maybe Thaisa and Brian can repost them in the comments. Okay, so here you want to figure out what you've got invested. So this cost $3.13. Now, this bracelet over here only cost 95 cents. So that included the opalon and the beads. And what I did was I measured out the opalon to figure out how many bracelets could I get with the 5 meters, and I divided the purchase price by that. For the beads, I actually figured out how much each little bead cost. And I did that by saying, okay, like I'll give you an example here. The check leaves, these ones right here, will cost 95 cents for a strand. And you get 25 leaves on a strand. Each bead is 4 cents. So I counted how many leaves did I have here. And I'm checking my notes. I had 10. So 10 times 4 cents is 40 cents. So I knew I had 40 cents of the leaves, and I did that for the flowers, and I did that for the check glass bead here, and I did it for my stretch cord. So at the end of the day, this bracelet cost me 95 cents to make. So you want to figure out what you have in it. And I think a common question too is like, well, how do you remember that? So you could keep a really detailed journal. I will admit what I tend to do is I keep track of the higher priced items. And then do you bring only one of each item? Oh, that's a great question. Pam, if you could bring multiples, if you have something that's really popular, like I pulled this earring right here. If I was doing a show and I had this earring, I might make multiples of this, but with a different bead color. So I might take this exact same design, make 5 different versions of it, but just changing the drop bead. And then what I do is I take the cost that I paid. So if I shop right now on the Beadaholique website and everything is 40% off, I look at what I actually paid, which is the 40% off price. I don't look at the retail price, and I'm just like, because I tend to shop sales. So I want to get something on sale and I factor in what I actually paid. I think it's harder if you don't. I think it's good just like, okay, I paid this. This is my cost per bead. I can add it up that way. So then like for something like this, I did not keep track of every little seed bead, but I know I paid like $8 for this vintage button. So I do remember what I paid for the main focal piece. So that's another way of doing it, is maybe if you've got some more expensive beads, like I've got some Raven's Journey. This black one's out of stock, but I want to show that they come in like a strand. But I have like this green one here, and I have these pretty wildflowers. These are going to be more per bead than say one of these guys. So you can just try to keep track of your more expensive beads and then just assign a general value to some of the less expensive ones if it's too daunting to keep a calculation of every single bead. And that tends to be what I do. I keep track of the really expensive pieces, and then I kind of just assign a general dollar value to some of the less expensive ones. All right, so you want to figure out your cost of your goods, and then the other part is your labor. How much time did it take to make? So this stretch bracelet here only took maybe 5 minutes to make. This loom piece took hours to make. So some people like to assign a dollar value or a wage to their hourly labor costs. I did that for a while. I put $20 for me. So I said, basically, if I'm going to make a piece of jewelry, I want to make sure I'm making $20 an hour on it. So maybe the seed beads here seed beads are not very expensive, and you don't use that many in loom. So looking at this, maybe my seed beads cost $2. My clasp probably costs $4. So maybe I only have $6 worth of materials in here, but I spent hours making it. So maybe it took me 3 hours. So $66 would be the price I would arrive at, the labor cost plus the cost of goods. And there's incidental costs too, like you are going to be paying for a booth, you are going to be doing listing fees, credit card processing fees. All of that stuff adds up too. So maybe you want to bump the price up a little bit to kind of cover that stuff. But then at the same time, I also look at something. I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to charge $70 to get my money out of this. But this only cost me 95 cents and it took 5 minutes. So maybe $2 worth of labor. And so that would put this at $2.95. I would absolutely charge more than $2.95 for this. Maybe I would charge $10 for this little stretch bracelet. Okay, so maybe there's a balance. If 70 feels a little high for this, maybe I kick this one down to 60 and I kick this one up to 10. And then there becomes a balance. So I think it's good when you're doing sales that you have, if you do like to do the complicated pieces, that you also put in your catalog some easy pieces as well to help balance out the labor time as well, because you'll also be able to make far more pieces for your booth, for your online website, if you have a mix of complicated and easy. So that's what's really worked for me, is have, like, I pulled these because these are easy. Like, look at these bracelets. These are a little slider clasp bracelet. Here we go. So you see that this is an adjustable slider, which is another good thing because it fits a lot of different wrist sizes. And this was one bead, the slider, some wire, and quick and easy. And we made this in a previous class here. And so this would be another great quick and easy item to have in your catalog or on your table at a show, because you don't have to spend a lot of time on these. You can make 20 of them very quickly and have suddenly a ton of inventory to sell. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. Other things that you'll have to think about with your pricing is, are you going to charge for shipping? How much are you going to charge for shipping? Some people like to do free shipping. If you do free shipping, make sure, at least my advice, this is just my personal advice, Julie Beans, Julie Beans' personal advice here. My personal advice is if you are going to give free shipping, somehow factor that into the cost of what you made. Because you don't want to charge $20 for something and it costs $10 to ship it, but you gave the free shipping away. When we do a craft show, should we include some jewelry that tends towards children as well? That's a great question. I tend to not do the kids per se because I always am a little worried about kids and small beads and stuff. But I know a lot of people do kids jewelry and love that. I tend to try to do a wide range of jewelry in terms of like, not everybody's an earring person. Not everybody's a necklace person. Some people like pink. Some people really don't like pink. So I go ahead and try to have a wide variety of colors and different styles of pieces. Yes, and Tracy's adding, and if you ship through USPS, they charge for weight as well. So I'm trying to read the comments as we go, guys. So if I ever pause, I'm reading it. So, Netta, sometimes really simple pieces that are a little bit, if you're worried about matching colors, but it's really kind of simple. Like this one only has one color to it. That's sometimes more appealing even than something very complicated or very colorful, because you're going to appeal to someone who loves like gold and green here, but you don't have to worry about appealing to someone who loves gold, green, and pink or purple. So I think that there's a spot there and a place for, more simplistic color schemes as well. When it comes to shipping, I wanted to share, since we're starting to talk about shipping here, I tend to do USPS, but they do charge by weight, by size, and location, because when you go and you ship something locally, it's a lot less expensive than if it goes across country. But I'm going to tip my camera up real quick so you can see a couple of my shipping supplies. And I'm happy to share this because this is what's been most economical for me. I buy flat boxes in bulk, and I buy them through this company here called Uline. It's been the best for me. I also buy, and I'm just going to lift this up so you can see it. If you can see this, I buy these giant, what I call cheese wheels of bubble wrap. And so that helps to reduce my costs because I'll buy 50 of these boxes at a time. And that really helps to reduce my costs. I buy those big bubble wrap cheese wheels in bulk as well. So that helps. Usually jewelry is lightweight, so that's nice, but definitely factor in your shipping charges so that you get reimbursed for them somehow. Otherwise, they're really going to eat away at your profit. And that's kind of one of those kind of hidden things that if you don't take into account at the end of the year, you're going to be really surprised by how much you spend on shipping. I know I spend a lot. Okay. And then I'm looking at BK from Kentucky saying my findings tend to become discolored. So discolored findings, I find happens to me if I spray like lotion or rub lotion on on my wrist when I have a bracelet on, or sunscreen spray. I do know they sell these little tabs that you can put in like a little baggie. So that can be an added thing you can also share with your customer as like an added bonus. You can provide them with the little anti-tarnish pads that they can store in with their jewelry as well. That the finding is still available. I just checked that. This little like rainbow post earring finding. It comes in silver and gold. The chain was this cut oval. So I'm going to see if Thaisa or Brian can see if they can find this chain. So the chain was really fun. But you could use other styles of chain here because the finding itself has these 2 rings on it, if you see that. So it's got these 2 rings, so you can hang whatever chain you like from it. But this would be another quick and easy item to have on your booth. So when you're thinking of shipping, think of the cost of your packing supplies. Think of how much it actually costs to ship them. You could consider using like a flat rate box. That's nice because then you get the free shipping supplies, you get the free box, but it is not inexpensive for a flat rate box. I think the cheapest one right now is $11.70 at the post office. So keep that in mind. And then also your time. If you're going to the post office every day and it takes you a half an hour a day, that's part of your labor cost is going to the post office. So that's another hidden one to kind of try to keep in mind. I do want to share with you, I know I'm kind of jumping around here. So feel free to ask questions, or as I see a question come up, I'll try to help answer it. I provided Thaisa and Brian with a link. This is my trade show checklist. It's a download and it's free here on Beadaholique. And I came up with this a while ago, but if you are doing a show, I know I saw a question there that popped up about, well, what do you need to do shows? Well, so show confirmation and load in, load out instructions. So that's really important. So you know where you're going to, which loading dock, if there's a loading dock, and what time can you get in there. The show address, money for change, a card swiper for credit cards, something like a Square or something like that, your cell phone charged, especially if you're doing a card swiper. Business cards are some way of people being able to find you again. You need your stuff to sell. You need jewelry repair supplies. Okay, so this is important. I always bring to a show my 4 essential tools. So I always bring a couple chain nose pliers, because if you've got jump rings, a jump ring might come loose, and so you might need to repair it, especially if you pack it in to like a box to transport it if something gets a little rattled. I always bring my cutter as well, and I bring my wire looping pliers, and I usually have a small assortment of head pins and jump rings too. All right, and then so here it says the pliers, the cutters, extra jump rings, etc. Price tags. I am a big believer that it helps sales if you have your prices easily displayed. I find, especially like if this doesn't matter if you're online, because it will show the price online, of course. If you are doing a show, I have seen so many people walk by not wanting to ask the price because they get a little shy or timid, and they just walk by. Whereas if you have your prices really easily visible, I find it increases sales. So I always show my prices. Pens, scissors, tapes, clips, rubber bands, a receipt book. You will have people who will ask for an old-fashioned receipt, a paper receipt. Calculator is usually on your phone. Tent. I saw a question pop up a moment ago that was about a pop-up tent. I look at ratings and reviews. There's a lot of them out there. I tend to go by reviews for like a nice 10 by 10 tent. I get my tables at Costco. The Costco folding tables have always done great for me. Sometimes your show will provide you a tent and a table, so just check your contract. A chair, a mat to stand on. If it's going to be a long weekend and you are on concrete, I always bring like a cushy mat to stand on. Tablecloth. Yeah, Rhett, I'm with you. So Rhett's saying, I have a friend like this, not listed, will not ask. Yeah, I think everyone has a different philosophy with the pricing, but I know there's things I walk by at art fairs and I don't want to ask, and I just assume they're out of my reach. But if they had put a price on it, I might have bought it. So I like to display my prices. Booth setup, display items, jewelry displays, props, decorative items. I'll sometimes put like a plant or something on my tabletop signage. That's always good. You can have like a QR code to your Instagram account or your Facebook page, something really easy, but it's nice to have signs. The name of your business is good. Start getting that name out there so that when people see you at future shows, they remember your name and know to go look for you. A banner if you have one. A newsletter sign up is always good. A way for people to like stay in contact with you. You'll need your packing supplies, snacks, water. Cover for your table if it's an overnight show. I use just a big queen size sheet. A dolly for transporting your goods to the car, bungee cords, and your seller's permit or copy of your business license. Some shows will ask, some will not. It's just nice to have it in there. So that is the show checklist, and that is downloadable and free, and you can print it for each and every show, check it off as you are packing the night before, and then print a new one for the next show. So that's just a resource that you have available to you. Now, make sure you download it because we are going through our closing process, and eventually when we close, we're going to keep the YouTube videos up, but this checklist won't be available anymore because it'll be off the website. So go ahead and download that and have that in your toolbox to use. All right, so packaging is another thing to talk about. I've seen great packaging, like here's little burlap bags to put your jewelry in. You can also get plain ones. We do have these here at Beadaholique, these little Christmassy ones. They are there in that shopping bag as well, but you can also find plain ones. You could do little boxes, you could do little pillow packs. Again, it's about what look you're going for, what matches your brand, as well as something to take into consideration. If you have a lot of really simple pieces, maybe you want some more simple bags. If you've got really colorful and elaborate pieces, maybe you want some more colorful ones. Oh, great question. So Netta is asking, do you need an LLC to do venues and to be a vendor? So every state is going to be different. So I would check with your local state. For California, you don't need an LLC. An LLC is a certain type of entity. Usually there are, like you register with the Board of Equalization. I can only speak to California. So you're going to need to check with your individual state as to what type of license or business license or what do you need to be able to sell. And it's usually, again, it's going to vary per state. So I don't want to give any legal advice for setting up a business. So you have to check with your state. But sometimes you can be like a sole proprietor where you don't have to form a corporation. And I think a lot of people who do handcrafts usually are like sole proprietors and they're registered with their business, but it's different than like an S Corp or an LLC. But again, check with your local state. But that's a great question. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to keep going here. I want to make a pair of earrings here just to kind of give an example of a quick and easy item you might want to have in your catalog that doesn't take too long, and then I'll tell you what the exact cost was on it. So in this case, I'm going to use some Pretty Raven's Journey beads. So I've got this wild rose one, and I got this bee, and I put some color variations there in the shopping bag. And then I'm going to use this Rosaline, this dark Rosaline fire polish. So these Raven's Journey beads, I basically looked at how many beads I got in a strand, and I have this marked down. Each of my little wild roses cost 37 cents. Each of my little bees cost 35 cents, and I'll need 2 for each earring. So I need 2 of these and 2 of these. And then these were very inexpensive. These were 4 cents each. So I only have 8 cents worth of these guys. And then I added up the cost of my findings. So basically this whole earring is going to cost me $2.11. And thank you guys. I'm seeing a lot of help for the question about the LLC and everyone sharing their own experience and thoughts, and that's great. That's what I was hoping we could do with this show. Is this is coming from me and my personal experience, but I think it's great for everyone to share their experience as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this onto a little head pin, and let's time it. So this is 2:34 for me here on the Pacific Coast. We're going to see how long this takes to just make a pretty earring, and then we'll look at the cost and the labor. So there is that wild rose bead with that Rosaline bead. I've got my tools here. I'm just going to make a simple loop right here. And then I know we still need to talk about photographing jewelry too, especially if you're going to be selling online. Photographs are so important. I'm just going to straighten up my loop. And then I'm just going to do the little bee. And I hadn't decided. I think he'll just be on his own. So you can use an eye pin. I'm just going to cut this off here. And I'm going to make myself a little eye pin since I didn't have one, but you could, of course, have an eye pin. I always run out of eye pins. I don't know why. Okay, so I made a little loop. And then I'm going to make another little loop. And we're going to connect these together. Okay, and this is just going to be a simple, pretty earring. And we're going to straighten this up. And we're going to put an earring hook on it, and then I'm going to talk about earring hooks. Okay. All right, so we made an earring in 1 minute. It is now 2:35. So if we made the matched pair, we would be looking at 2 minutes to make this pair of earrings. So it costs $2.11. Let's just make it so we've got the matched pair here because it's kind of fun to look at. So it cost me, if I go by that old formula, if I wanted to make $20 an hour in labor, and it cost me it took 2 minutes to make. What is that? That's like $1 labor. So $3 would be the cost of this earring of what I'd want to make sure I got out of it. But this easily could sell for $15. Oh, I messed that up. Well, you know, we're going to have a mix match earring. So easily this cost me with labor and supplies $3. I feel like I could easily charge $15 for this earring. So that's a good profit. So here we go. Oh, oh, thank you, Vicki. You will get there. You will get there. Practice with some craft wire, maybe. Thank you, Judy. I love my wind chimes. Practice with some craft wire, and you'll get the hang of it. You will. And then you'll be making perfect loops, and they'll go really fast, which is nice too. Hello, Marianne. Okay. So I totally mixed up the order of these beads, but I'm going to see if it actually looks really cool, because we could have done this. We could have done the little bee on the bottom and the flower up top. Okay, so here's the second version of this earring. Okay, so here was this version. This is kind of fun that we have two versions. Okay, so it costs, oh, now I want to just do earrings like this. This is fun. Okay, so it cost $2.11 and took about 2 minutes to make. Oh, and I did not secure that one. So let's call it 3 minutes if we secure our loops properly. So this is a good type of design to help balance out your more complicated pieces, or if you do work a little bit slower, you can make some of these quick and easy pieces that will help to balance out your labor costs for your more complicated pieces. So I always think it's nice, whether you're selling online or in person, to have a good balance of things that are quick and easy and things that are complicated. So there we go. And I really didn't secure my loops on this. Okay. All right, so let's talk photography, and we can always jump back to any of the other conversations we've had about pricing, booth setup, things like that. Photography. I'm going to show you where I do all my photographs. So when I'm getting ready for a show or I do a project or something like that, if you can see right there in the corner out there is a table. That table is under an overhang, so it does not get direct sun, but it gets indirect sunshine. And so I always do all of my jewelry designs. I photograph them outside in natural light away from the sunshine. And that works best for me. I don't use a light box. I've tried a light box, but I don't find my pictures and my photos turn out as good as if I just take them in natural light. So what I also find works for me, and I don't really have a good example of this, but I'll do it with these. You see how white, here we've got white, right? So let's say I was outside. And let's say I had a pretty memory wire bracelet, right? For me personally, I find it really hard to photograph on white. I find it hard to get the white to look truly white and to not have a bunch of shadows that interfere. So what I like to do it on something. Now these, I would do it on these if they were plain. Excuse me. Just some type of colored background, like a nice neutral color, or even like my beading mat. I tend to use postcards, old books, things like that. I find my colors look truer and better and sharper when I photograph them on any color other than white, for me. So if you have struggled with photographs and you've been trying to do it on white, maybe give it a try photographing them on an old book, a postcard, a pretty piece of kind of neutral paper, and that might help a lot. Another thing to keep in mind is if you want, this was a tip that was passed along to me, a lot of professional photographers use basically a white reflective board, which is like this. So you'll sometimes see it. So it's off camera, but it's white and it reflects white onto your designs. What you can do is you can wear a white t-shirt when you are photographing and you will become your own white reflector. So I thought that was a professional photographer who used to work for Beadaholique here, and he taught me that. A great photographer. And he said, yeah, always wear a white shirt because you are going to become the white reflector. And it does really brighten up your jewelry. So if you are photographing it like, here, let's just take this other beading mat. So this is cream here. And you're like staging your nice photo here and you've got it all pretty. And then you're outside in your natural light. If you are wearing white and you're right here, it's going to bounce white onto your designs and brighten them up for you. I do use my cell phone as my camera. Yep. And I don't have the newest cell phone. I have an iPhone, but it's old. It's like an iPhone 11. And so, yes, I do that. I also want to show you guys, because we get questions about this. So maybe you are creating video content, like maybe you've got a YouTube channel going or you've got something like that. I often get asked what I use for my camera stand, and this is what I use. So this is something that clamps onto the table, like so. And this is a bigger version. I actually use a little smaller version, but it is fully adjustable. And you mount your phone into here. And this would be good too if you have a shaky hand and you are wanting to take photographs and you're a little bit worried about the camera jiggling a little bit. You can mount this onto your table and then you can use this as your basically your tripod. And it is adjustable. So that's nice. You can get it into a lot of different areas. Oh, Tracy has a great tip. She says, I do have a light box that I use, but I also incorporate things in my background or around it to make the jewelry pop out. Yes, I think so. I know there are some people who are really wonderful and great at taking just the jewelry on white photos. I find it so much easier if you have like a flower, a book, something else happening in the photo. It really makes the jewelry, I think, easier to photograph. So that's a really great tip. I do edit my photos. So you can either, this is a good tip. If you need square photos, there's a square photo setting on your phone if you use an iPhone. So you can set it to square if you need square photos ahead of time. So you can do that, or you can crop them. So that's another thing that Deb Floros, when she's here on October 28th, is I'm sure going to talk about, because she does a lot more online selling about listing, how to get your listing ready, keywords, photos for listings, things like that. How do I add a background on the green screen? Oh, I have a shot box. You know what? I would have to research that because I don't use that. So I don't know how you do that. For backgrounds, I physically build out the background. So if I want to have something in the background, I find props. I have a whole prop closet. But that's a great question. Yeah, there's so much you can do with technology now, which is amazing. You're welcome, Christus. So when you are making and selling jewelry, I'm kind of going to review a couple of the top tips, and then please feel free to ask questions again. I think finding the venue that's right for you is my number one tip. Is try out different areas, try online, try farmers markets, try an art fair. They're all going to have different prices. Like a farmer's market is going to probably be less expensive than an art fair, but maybe you'll make 4 times as much at the art fair. So kind of it balances out for the return sometimes. And then best ideas for banners. Oh, great question, Ellen. So we get our banners professionally printed. There's a lot you can find. So I would search retractable trade show banner. That would be the keywords I would go for. My suggestion, again, this is just me personally, have your name somewhere on it. So whatever you're selling as, so people get used to recognize it. So if it's just your personal name or your business name, have your name on it. And then have some beautiful pictures of what you make, your pieces. So if you make memory wire bracelets, have a gorgeous stack of memory wire bracelets. And remember, the bottom third probably of your banner is going to be covered by your booth. So if people are looking in at your booth and you have like a tall 6-foot banner, the bottom third is going to probably not be visible. So you want to put all that good information up top. So you'll put your name towards the top of the banner. You'll put the images up towards the top so that if the bottom part is obscured, people can still read it. And Tracy sharing that she's had hers created at Vistaprint. That's great. Aught lights are good. Aught lights are very good. I agree. Okay, so yeah, banners are important. Signage, having like a QR code that will take people right to your Instagram or wherever you want to send them is super important as well. So find the right venue for yourself, and then just trust your gut too with the pricing. If you look at something like this and you're like, well, this costs me, $3 to make, that's really low. I think you could get $18 for this. So you're not just going to charge $3 or, obviously you're going to charge more than the cost of your supplies, but you're not just going to like triple it and say $9 or quadruple it and say $12. Look at it and be like, what do you think you could actually get for that? And people would be happy to pay. And then kind of go with that gut instinct is what I tend to do a lot. So I'll know my cost of goods, I'll know my labor, but then I'll also look at it and be like, this price feels right. And sometimes it's a little higher, sometimes it's a little bit lower. Also having QR codes, if you're using Venmo or Cash App, that's great tip as well, Tracy, for sure. And think about where you want to send people. Do you want to send them to your Etsy account? Do you want to send them to your Facebook account? Do you want to send them to Instagram? Where are you trying to get people to follow you? And that's what you want to be sharing as well and promoting. Buying supplies on sale helps, of course, which is what's nice right now about the Beadaholique 40% off sale. When I factored this in, this costs under $1 to make. This is because I was able to factor in sale prices. So it always helps when you can do that. Whenever you can reduce costs, like if you could buy your packing supplies in bulk, that's going to reduce your overall costs. Charge people appropriate shipping. Is also important as well. You could make it a hot air balloon. Ha! That'd be so cute. That would be so cute. Yes. We used to have these little basket charms, and they're gone now, but they would have been perfect. A little rain, like a hot air balloon with a little basket. Good. Okay. I love this. We're sharing tips on aught lights and magnifying glasses. Yes, that's always super important. Another thing to think of, if you are going to do a show in person, bring a mirror. A lot of times people like to see what they look like with the jewelry on. So bring like a little hand mirror or a little standing mirror. That's always good as well. Make sure you bring something to pack up the items in as well so that people can take them home. Put maybe a business card in it. So if you were going to pack it in here, you wrap it in tissue, you put it in, stick a business card in there or some way of finding you, and then you can go ahead and do this. Oh, good. I love this. Where do I find your take to show list? Oh, so Thaisa has that. So it is a downloadable item off the Beadaholique website. Thaisa has a link, and you can download this as many times as you like. You can reprint it. You can check off, toss it, and print a fresh copy. So you'll always have this. I find this really helpful because my brain needs to know that I've got everything before I go to a show. So if I know if everything's checked off, I'm good to go. So she will definitely be able to help with that. I'm trying to think of any other tips. Make what you love. Make what you love. I always say don't try to follow trends. Make what you love. Make what speaks to you, and then people will find you. Are there things you would advise against when taking photos? Yes. I would advise against too cluttered of a background. Or like, let's say, here, I'll show you right now. This will be a good example. If you are taking photos, like if you look at my table right here, I've got a lot of stuff happening. Like, look at all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff. So I wouldn't want to take a photo of this bracelet. So I've got this bracelet. I wouldn't want to take it and have anything in the background. I'd want to keep the frame here. So I would, of course, lower it and put it here so that you can then only focus on the jewelry. Oh, okay, Kat. I will see if I can find that. I didn't see it. Okay. Okay, I'll look for that for sure. Did you send it to me or did you send it to Beadaholique, Kat? Because if you sent it to Beadaholique, I can't see it. I'm on Facebook just as myself, my own personal Facebook account. But so I didn't see it, but I'll check my spam folder. Thank you, Kat. But if it went to Beadaholique, maybe Thaisa can find it or Brian. I'm not sure who's checking that right now. So when taking photos, bright, you don't want them too dark, so you want lots of light. That's why I go outside. So you don't want too cluttered of a background. Also, I think it's important that what you have in the frame is pretty obvious as to what you're selling. So let's say we're selling this bracelet right here. I wouldn't necessarily put these other bracelets in it because I want people to know what item they're getting. So I think that's important too. Okay, so any other questions? I did want to say here, like these pretty earring hooks, they do cost more than these ones. So if you are factoring out plated or like gold filled or sterling silver, if you use gold filled and it costs a little bit more, you use sterling, mention that in your listing. Mention that when you are talking to people at a show. Let people know you're using gold filled. Let people know you are using sterling silver or something like that, because that's important. And that increases the value and the perceived value of what you do. Oh, yes. And then wearing what you make, that's a great idea, Judy. That definitely is like, you're like a walking advertising board, and then you carry a business card to share with people. Oh, Janet. Okay. How do I contact you about certain items I bought and didn't know how to use? So you can definitely reach out. I think it's service@beadaholique.com. And then if it's a design question, they send it over to me to help answer. So you can send it there, and then Brian or Thaisa will help with it. If they can't, and it's a design question or you're looking for ideas, they usually send it to me and I can help answer. That's a great question though. But yes, so if you are using, let people know too, you're using check glass. Like all of these are check glass and these are beautiful. Let people know you're using check glass. Let them know you're using gold filled or silver filled. All of that is really important too. And then share, like, I think having like an about me or biography is important too. Let people know you're a real person. Let them know your history and what you like and what you're passionate about. I think that also helps to kind of create your brand, but also helps people feel like they can relate to you. And then you're going to get these customers who will keep coming back to you. Oh, great. Thaisa saying, yes, feel free to shoot us questions at service@beadaholique.com. Oh, that's nice. Santa Barbara girl saying imported European glass beads. Yes, very nice. Yeah, let people know the quality that you're using. Japanese seed beads, delicas. Really fun, like let them know what you're using. If you get supplies in a bead bag but aren't sure about the metal and the findings, how do you list that? I would probably just say like assorted metal findings, or I would definitely not say even plated or sterling. You could also say gold tone or metal tone if you're not sure, like silver tone. So if you've got a listing and let's say it was this earring here, and let's say you aren't sure of what the findings were, but you knew what the glass beads were. You can say beautiful check glass beads. Here, these are Raven's Journey. You can even say Raven's Journey check glass beads with gold colored findings. So I think you can say something like that, and then you're not claiming it's gold plate or gold filled or anything like that. So I think there is a nice, delicate way of saying it that makes it so you're not promising anything that's inaccurate. Yeah, if that's great. Janice saying, make sure you say if it's hypoallergenic. That's something people are looking at. Do I zoom in? No, actually. So Audrey, that's a great question. I never zoom in when I am taking my photos. I zoom in when I'm editing my photos. Yes, you can say gold tone. I think that's fine because you're saying it's the color of gold, but you're not claiming it's gold. At least that's my personal opinion. Again, this is just my personal opinion, but I have seen a lot of people say gold tone, silver tone. You're not claiming it's sterling. You're not saying it's 24 karat or 14 karat gold. You're saying it's the color of gold. So, what I do with my photos is I take them just with the 1-to-1 ratio. I don't zoom in. I find they get a little distorted when I zoom in, but then when I go to edit it, I zoom in. That's where I do my zooming. I have a hard time with descriptions too. So for me, when I say I like to sell in person more, that's one of the reasons, because I don't have to write descriptions. I don't have to think of keywords. I don't have to do online forms. I don't have to do photos. So I really like selling in person because I think it takes some of the steps away. Oh, that's nice. Linda saying carry hypoallergenic ear wires so you can change them out. That's a great tip. That's super important because you will have people who will ask. And don't get disheartened. I think we've all had show experiences that are not exactly wonderful, like someone saying something, don't get disheartened. Keep going. I did a show at all places at the LA Zoo once. And I had all this silver jewelry and they were like under $10 because I thought, oh, it's the zoo, so it should be inexpensive. And it was all these silver colored jewelry. And someone was very, very upset that an $8 pair of earrings was not sterling silver. And they let me know that they were upset that it was plated. So we all have experiences, but keep going and find your people and find the right venue for you that works for you and that you enjoy. Okay. All right, I'm going to flip the camera up. Real quick, I did put some of these in the shopping bag if you just want to look at certain things to kind of get an idea of their cost and how you might use them. Memory wire, of course, is really good. It's like a one size fits all. So both of these are good for selling because you don't have to make multiple bracelets in different sizes. You can make one bracelet and it's going to fit a lot of different wrists. So memory wire is really great for that. These slider clasps are good for that. Stretch cord, of course, is really good for that as well. Yes, never take it personally. Absolutely, I agree. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera up and we can talk some more still. Okay. Yeah, so I hope this hope we can keep talking about this during other shows as well. And, if you have more questions that come up, feel free to ask them. I'm going to be back on Thursday here, so we can keep this conversation going. And then Deb is going to come on October 28th and talk more about selling online. I know we had a couple questions about that last week, and we were talking about different website platforms. You can kind of decide if you want to have a website dedicated to you or just like an Etsy shop or both. So there's lots of different options for that as well. Oh, Sharice, I'm glad. She's saying this is so helpful. Good. And then Brian, Thaisa is letting us know if you have anything in that shopping cart that you picked up, please do remember to check out. This is the time to load up on some supplies. Like, this is what I'm honestly doing, because 40% off is a really good discount and they're beautiful pieces. So this is going to help to reduce your cost of goods, which is great. And same with like things like the findings. Like, we always need head pins. We always need, I always need eye pins because I never have them, or those little magnetic clasps. Some of those are classic and you're just going to use them time and time again. So when you can get them on sale, that's the time to get them. Yay. Okay, I think I might have missed a comment or two. I'm trying to read them as fast as I can here. Oh, good guys. I'm glad this was good. I know we talked last week that a lot of people are just waiting to jump in. Go for it. I tend, with my personality, I want everything perfect. I want my business cards perfect. I want my booth display perfect. I want, so much inventory. And at some point you just have to jump in and start. And that's actually what my husband's always telling me, because he's really good at that. Just go for it. Find a farmer's market booth, find an art fair, find something and jump in and do it. All right. All right. Oh, yes. I take my things to a local shop that are different people's booths. That's great for local people. Tell people you're local. That's another great thing. And even if you're selling online, tell people where you're selling from, because I think there's a lot of confusion online sometimes with online shops. Like, where's this shipping from? Is this a real person? Is this a company? Share it. Tell them about your life. Say you're in Boston, or say you have your studio in Florida. Share that information. That's super helpful. Let them know who you are as a designer, and do that. I haven't done shows in a little while. Yeah, I had some health issues last year and the kiddos, but I want to get back to it. My husband still does. He does conventions every 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But I definitely want to get back to doing shows. It's been a little while, but you guys are inspiring me to jump back in too. So I have to take my own advice. I just have to go do it. And for me, I think I might do like a farmer's market, because we have a great organic farmer's market that has an artisan section. And I think it might be also the type of people who are thinking local handmade. And that's important for me when I'm looking for a show, is I want people, and then want the customer to be thinking about handmade and value handmade. So that helps. Okay, I think I missed a couple questions. I'm sorry. If I did miss anything, I'm so sorry. The couple just flipped up really fast. But definitely feel free to ask them again on Thursday if I missed anything, or if you think of anything. This show will be available on replay. You can always go back and rewatch. That download is still available for the show sheet. You can get that on the Beadaholique website. It's totally free. It's just a free download, and then print it as many times as you need it. Sometimes we have to take care of ourselves first. But this brings joy, and I think it helps with all aspects of life. There's something very healing and good energy about creating. And my wind chimes agree. They're just going crazy right now as I said that, so they agree. All right, thank you guys for joining me. This was fun. I'm going to go back and rewatch so that I can look at links. If you guys shared your links, I would love to see what everybody is up to. That will be so much fun. So thank you, Thaisa. Thank you, Brian. This was a great, fun show. Make sure you mark your calendars for when Deb continues the conversation on October 28th. Oh, so Santa Barbara Girl made a really good point. She said you can also sell for wives at a convention that caters to men. And I have done that and been very successful. So Comic-Cons have been some of my most successful shows. And I just tagged along on my husband's booth. And I sold a lot. So sometimes you can do that too in a kind of unconventional area. All right. Thank you guys. Oh, big hugs to you too, Santa Barbara girl. I will see everybody on Thursday. So take care. Bye, Linda. You guys all take care, and we all got to start thinking about what shows we're going to do, or if you are doing a show, share it, share how it went, share your tips, and share your ideas. Okay. Bye, guys. Take care.